I'm about to make me this fancy intro, and it's gonna have a countdown clock, and then that way y'all don't have to hear me ramble while I'm trying to do behind the scenes stuff until, everybody joins. So, you already know what I'm gonna say. Just need to share this to some pages. There I am. Hi. Hi, whoever joined. Just doing the little background work real quick of sharing this to some of my pages, and then we're going to go ahead and go live. Today's message is going to be fire. So hopefully y'all having a good day, and y'all could be a little patient with me whilst I do this. I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh, there we go. That's one. Yay! So today we're going to be talking about, are you living for your dreams? Are you arguing for your limitations? Oh my God, it's going to be so good. I have a tendency to look down at my camera down there at myself because I'm vain like that instead of looking up. So if I look down, y'all just know I'm looking at myself. I can't help it. I don't know why I do it. Okay, that was one. So let me go ahead and finish sharing this real quick. And then we'll get started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Hey, everybody. Okay, one more. I got one more to share. To another page, last page, because I don't like doing it through my studio. I can't say it today. I don't like doing it through my studio because it makes the numbers all wonky, and then I have to look at 50 pages and all of that. So, okay. It's all done. I know people pop in and out when I ain't talking. They pop in and out when I'm talking. So, yay. Okay. We did it. We're done. Go back to my own page. I'm not going to turn my volume down just in case. We're going to get started. I'll go live on Instagram real quick. Woo! Let's get started. Yes. Hey, Instagram. We're live everywhere now. YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Instagram. Is that it? I think that may be it, or maybe one more place. I'm not sure. But today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is, are you living for your dreams or are you arguing for your limitations? Are you living for your dreams or are you arguing for your limitations? To Noah, what does that mean? Well, let's think about it for a minute. A lot of times we have so many people in life that you can feel it, right? We can feel it. You can feel when you are destined for greater. You can feel when you are destined for more and that you're supposed to have more. But a lot of times what we end up doing is, because it seems hard to attain, or because there's a lot of work involved, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, what we end up doing is let me see if I can put my phone right here without tearing up my computer. But what we end up, I'm gonna cover my own face. Okay, nothing fell apart. Okay, so what we end up doing is we refuse the growth process, right? We refuse to actually do the work that we need to do and actually to grow into our dreams or into our purpose or into the vision that we have for ourselves. And we instead get comfortable. The brain gets comfortable in limitation. And it's not because the brain does not want to grow, right? It's because the mind and the brain likes comfort, right? It likes when it's raining outside and it's able to cuddle up on the sofa. I can't talk today. And it's able to cuddle up on the sofa and pull up a blanket and get comfortable and just snuggle in and get comfortable. It likes that. So it likes situations where it's able to snuggle in. Excuse me as I clear up the cotton mouth. So it wants to be able to chill, right? It doesn't want you going out and doing new things and growing and doing all these things where it's going to have to now do all this work to keep you safe. Because it believes that anytime you step out into the deep, anytime you step out and try to go farther and farther, it has to now protect you from things that it didn't know it had to protect you from before. Once it gets used to something, it can do its job more effectively, right? Because it works on repeat. Think about it. When you first learned that, when you were a little kid, go back to when you were a little kid, and some of y'all grown and still can't do this, but that's okay. That's none of my business. I'm not going to talk about it. But think about as a little kid when you had to learn how to tie your shoe, or think about as an adult trying to teach a kid how to tie their shoes. That is, I'm sorry, y'all, my back door is my alarm is about to go off because I hear my son coming in, and I literally just set the alarm. So y'all give me a second to disarm it before he comes in here and just sets it off in here. Okay, so it's disarmed. Whew, the door scared me. I didn't even know he was on his way here. But now I can go back to talking now that the crap has gotten scared out of me for no reason. Okay, so think about trying to teach somebody how to tie their shoes, right? That is the most confusing gig in the world. Whether you're the one trying to tie your shoe or you're the one trying to teach somebody to tie their shoe, that's not something that is easy to adapt to or easy to learn or easy to figure out, right? But once the brain learns it, it goes into a different part of the brain. So if you guys have never heard me talk about this before, one of the things I talk about all the time is how the mind works and the parts of the brain or the parts of the mind. So we have the conscious mind, which is the part that can hold about 10 things at a time. That's where our logical thinking is. That's kind of where we learn new things. That's where a lot of those thought processes that make decisions are stored, right? And then we have our subconscious mind. That's kind of like, not kind of like, but that's where the, sorry, I got distracted again. Hey, okay. That's where the antiquated brain is, or the part of us that comes in from our ancestors, right? And so when you are born and you have all of these things that you come into the world already knowing, those are the parts of the brain that come from like an ancestral point of view. And there's a word I'm trying to think of, and I'm gonna think of it in a minute, and I'm gonna fix this sentence. Y'all just hold on, I'm gonna fix the sentence. Right now it's not fixed, but y'all know the alligator type of brain, right? It's that reptilian brain. That's the word I was thinking. Whoo, Lord, it took me a minute, but that's the reptilian brain, right? And so that's the part of our mind that it likes the old information and it holds on to the old information because that's how it keeps us safe. And so as human beings, we get all of that reptilian type information when we're born, right? And it comes across, and we don't have that much to learn or to think about, or or to have to do to keep us safe. So like when you're walking down the street and there's a threat and you don't know, you eating a lollipop or an ice cream cone. I don't know why I'm thinking of those things, but you're not doing anything that's like paying attention to your surroundings. You're just walking through life, right? And then all of a sudden, a trigger goes off. Something tells you that you're not safe, that you need to pay attention to your surroundings. That's the reptilian brain. That's the part of the brain that it knows how to tap into its surroundings without you needing to pay attention. That's subconscious. The subconscious is also where things go once they are learned. So once you learn the things you need to learn, those things now move into another part of your brain. So the conscious mind can't hold on to all of these things. It has to now put it into a safe, put it into a vault, put it somewhere that it can be stored and used later without it having to think of the steps every 5 seconds. So once you learn how to brush your teeth, once you learn how to tie your shoe, once you learn how to drive a car, once you learn how to use a fork, all of these things that we had to learn how to do, once you learn how to walk, it's just like when people have major accidents and they have to learn how to walk all over again. It was stored in a part of the brain that was hurt, right? And so now that part of your brain has to be retaught how to do those things. But once it goes into that part of the brain, and once we know how to do those things, now we can do several of those things at once, right? We don't have to only do one thing. It's again, I love the reference of juggling. Y'all know I talk about juggling all the time. When you are juggling balls, right? You can juggle so many. I can't juggle any. I can do two. I can do two. I got two. Hey, I got it. Hey, you throw that third one in and it's like, forget it. I'm gonna try, but then I'm probably gonna knock myself in the face. Balls gonna be everywhere, right? Because that's all I can do. But there are other people that could do more. But it's like whatever you can juggle is fine until somebody adds something that you can't handle, and then everything falls apart, right? And so That the brain is looking for the things that it can juggle safely and comfortably without it falling apart, without it having to admit that it doesn't have it, right? Learning to skate, right? You learn how to skate, you great. Learning how to ride a bike. When you learn how to ride a bike, you're great. But when learning how to ride that bike, I remember I ran into a car door. Somebody opened the car door. I ran into it, flipped off, right? It was some woo. To this day, like my air pressure light went off on my tires, and I need new tires. My daughter was funny today because if y'all saw anything last week, y'all know that I was talking about having car trouble last week and I had to get some work done last week. Get in the car today, the tire pressure light was on. And I know that my tires are at that point where they need to be replaced. And so my daughter goes, "Can this car just give you a break?" And I said, "Right." And before I could finish the word, I kind of caught myself because gratitude is the name of the game, right? So I am grateful that I have, first of all, a car that I love to drive, but that I have the means and ability to not only get around, but to be able to take care of things as they come, right? And so I'm not grateful that I need tires, but I'm grateful that I need tires. Y'all know what I mean? So, but when you learn how to do these things, right, they get stored where the brain can feel comfortable. And so when you are looking at whether or not, oh, and I'm sorry, there's one more part to the mind, and I call it the secret service of the mind. It's the critical filter, but it's that part that protects the subconscious from taking in anything that can actually change some things that the brain already knows and understands. So the critical filter is kind of like a coffee filter, right? So you have a coffee filter in your coffee maker and you put coffee in it. Duh, it's the coffee filter. So when you put your coffee in the filter protects the water from getting all the grounds. Because otherwise, if you just put it in there without the filter, then as the water filters through, it's going to take those little tiny grounds with it. And so the purpose of the filter is so that you get the coffee, but you don't get the stuff that goes with it. The critical filter's job is almost the same, right? The critical filter says we're going to pull in the relevant information, but we're not going to pull in anything that's going to possibly change what we think we already know. Because if it changes what we think we already know, then now we have to relearn it again. And if I'm in the relearning process, then I'm not in a safe space. Because anything I'm learning doesn't feel safe nor comfortable. So if I'm in a learning environment, I'm not in an environment where I'm growing, but I don't feel like I'm grown. I don't feel like I can grow. Right? So when you're talking about living for your dreams or arguing for your limitations, you have to realize that if you are living for your intention in life, your purpose, your dreams, the things that you want, the things that you aspire to, that is a space that does not feel safe. That is a space that the brain does not believe is handling everything that's coming its way. Because those are the things that the brain doesn't understand. Like take me, for instance, right? When I'm in a space of growth, and I know that this means that I have to reach out to people. I have to talk to people. Now, if you've ever met me or sat with me in a live or in real life, you know, the girl can talk. She likes chopping it up, right? But I don't like meeting people and having to ask for something. I don't like that at all. It's like, why, Lord, why? Can't you just give it to me? Why I gotta ask somebody for it? Why I gotta like step into that unsafe space? So for me, when it comes to living for my dreams, that means I have to push myself in that area because that's not an area that's comfortable for me. It's foreign. And after all these years of life, I just turned the big 50. You would think that because I know that that's coming up, that I would be more okay with it. But I'm not. And everybody watching this right now, whether you are watching live or in replay, whether you're watching on Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you have those same somethings in your life, right? So those somethings can look to either keep us small because we don't want to do the work that it takes to grow, or we can attempt to grow, right? And we can move forward every day in growth instead of being held back by the reptilian part of our brain that is not necessarily the brain believe it or not, the brain wants us to be successful. It just doesn't know how to maneuver past, I was about to say hyperbole. I see the H in my brain won't work today, but homeostasis. Oh, Jesus. Whoo, child. Had a long day. It doesn't know how to move itself past homeostasis. And if you remember science class, we all went through science class in elementary school. And one of the things you learn about is the homeostatic process of the body, right? Where homeostasis says things need to stay the exact same in order for you to be safe, or you to be not sick, or you to be healthy. When you have surgery, the doctors are looking for a homeostatic process in your body to release you to go home. The brain is looking for a homeostatic process to know that you're safe. That means you are now doing the exact thing at the exact time that it trained you to do, so that it could do its job, and you're not working on taking over some of the things that it already knows. Yeah, my cousin Bon Limo said is people have a hard time with feeling needy. It's a tough pill to swallow. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't like it at all. It's a very tough pill to swallow to have to ask for something. Then if you tell me no, I tell people one thing I've learned to say to help me get over the hump of asking for help is I say to people, you don't have to say yes, and they don't, right? You don't have to say yes, but I have to ask. So that takes the onus off of you thinking that I'm coming to you and that I'm expecting a yes. I'm not necessarily expecting a yes, but I am definitely proud of myself for asking. And depending on what it is, I just may never ask. And you suffer through it, which is just sad, right? But so when you're looking at living for your dreams or arguing for your limitations, you have to remember, so a limit is a stop, right? A limit says no go. A limit says you can't go past here. A limit says it's almost like you have wrapped yourself up in chains and put a lock on yourself and said, I can't get out of this, unless you're Houdini, right? And many of us have given up our magical powers. We have not tapped into the magic, so we don't have Houdini vibes, and we get locked up in those chains and we feel stuck. And then we start telling people we're stuck, which means the brain hears the word stuck, and it's going to make you even more stuck. Because anytime you say you are something, if you say I am and put something behind the M, the brain is more apt to follow through on what it believes you want. So if you say you're stuck, then guess what? You're going to be stuck. You're going to be in what my favorite word, stuckage. I made that word up a long time ago. I love it. But you're going to be stuck because that's what you believe you are, stuck, right? So anytime you set out to do something big, you set out to do something great, you set out to do something that's going to change your life and or change the world, then one thing you have to realize is the brain is looking at that, and the brain is saying, but we don't understand this. We don't know what any of this is. We don't understand what you're doing. What do you mean you need to go and meet somebody? We don't want you to talk to them. That's heart palpitations. We don't want to do that, right? So the brain is going to try to look for ways to keep you in your comfort zone, to keep you in a place where it can take care of you more easily and more readily because you're not giving it new information all the time, constantly. And so because you're looking at the fact that it wants to keep you in a homeostatic process, anytime you see a limitation or anytime you see a dream, you're going to look for the limitation. Or if you've been struggling through something for a very long time, and then someone comes up to you and they say, oh, this is easy for you to get over. Let me give you a few steps. It's not easy for you because you've been living in that for a very long time, right? And so now you're holding on to the fact that this has been my normal for a long time. You're asking me to live a new normal. That's a lot for me. So I don't know if I can do that right now. Or you say to someone, okay, here are the 3 steps you can do. When people start arguing for their limitations, when you start arguing for your limitations, listen to your trigger words. Listen to the words that you say. Oh, I'm okay. Oh, I've been living like this for a long time. Or you go to a job, right? You start a new job, and because you're new on the job, you can see how some of the processes could be different if they implement new strategies or new ways of doing things. And you start spouting out like all of these things that can be done, right? Here's some great information for you. Here are some things that you can do to change your processes so that we can implement things faster. And then what do the people say who've been there the longest? We've done this way all this time. Yeah, you've been doing it wrong all this time, or ineffectively all this time. But they're comfortable with their pattern. They're comfortable with their workflow. And who in the hee haw do you think you are to pop in and tell them how to do something differently? I remember once I had just come back from Desert Storm and I went back to school. And because I felt like I was behind, because I had to take that time off, I felt like I was behind. I wanted to catch up. So I took 21 credit hours in a semester. And in order to do that, you have to go and get permission from everybody in the world, right? You feel like you need it from the president of the United States, but you have to get permission. You have to get it signed off in 3 different places from like 3 different heads, right? In order to take that many hours at once. And everyone kept saying, well, Tanoa, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. Well, first of all, I didn't act like if I pay this money and I don't make it, then hey, cousin William, then that's on me, right? But don't tell me, don't stop me, right? Just because I'm gonna argue your point. If anything, people always say you should have been a lawyer. If you show me your regulation, I am going to argue your regulation until I win. You're not gonna win if you show me if you just spout out some stuff, we can argue back and forth. But the once you show it to me in writing, oh, I got it. You can't now you can't do anything to me because you just showed it to me. So I can now show you where all the holes are so I could get my way, right? So anyway, I get it signed off on and I'm taking all these classes. And one of the classes I was smart enough to take was this humanities class, but the class was self-directed or self-learned. All you had to do was you needed to take 9 of the 12 subjects. You had to take tests, and in order to do that, you had to go see the professor. So the what is the semester? I'm going to make up some months. I may be off. I haven't been in a college setting, but what is it? August through December, right? So August goes by, September, October, November. I get this letter from the professor saying that he was going to drop me from the class because I hadn't taken any tests. So immediately that sends me to the course reg, right, to see where it says I have to take a test at a certain time, and it doesn't. So I finally go see him. Hey, how you doing? I'm Tanoa Bond. He was like, yes, I was getting ready to drop you from the class. I said, well, you can't really, because course regulation doesn't state that I have to be here at a certain time to take the test. It just says that between the first day of class and the last day of class, I have to take these 9 tests. And he was like, yeah, but the class is over in 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, great. I'll just take a test today. He was like, you're going to fail my class. No, sir. So I do. Every day I'm at home just cramming because I haven't read anything. I haven't studied anything for that class. So I'm just cramming for tests and passing tests because that's what I do. And we go. So anyway, long story short, I got to take this music test. Now, I have been a geek all my life, right? Now I was a band geek. I've played clarinet from 3rd grade all the way up to sorry y'all. But I played clarinet from 3rd grade all the way up to college level. I played all city band, all city jazz, all city, all of them, all city period. And then I also used to play my summers with the Chicago Symphony. If I don't know anything else, I know music, right? If I don't know anything else, I know music. So one of the classes was music, and I don't even study for that one. I took a test. I think I took 2 tests that day. I took the one test for the class to study for, and I was like, just give me the music while I'm here. And he was like, you're gonna take 2? So anyway, he gives me the test, and I take the test, and I get one wrong, and I'm offended. What do you mean I get one wrong? I didn't get one wrong. So he shows it to me, and I'm like, well, prove it to me, show it to me. So he doesn't like me already because I waited until the very end of the semester to now come in and slam all these tests in a week and a half. And so he shows it to me, and I look, and it was like a treble clef or something. What did it mean? And I was like, that's not wrong. Yes, it is. I was like, no, sir, no, it's not. He said, I've been giving this test for 20 years. And I said, well, that means you've been giving it wrong for 20 years. He was so mad and offended. So he goes to the book, and guess who was right? Yeah. Y'all, I was right, of course. I was ready to argue that point because he, and hey, I passed the class. I mean, I had passed that test with a high A, but don't tell me it's wrong. You were wrong. So I told him something that day. I taught him two things, actually, that students can actually come in and cram through. So I'm pretty sure he has something to do later with changing how that humanity class was run and telling people that they actually had to come. You got to come at least once a month or once a week to take a test, or you don't pass. Because I did. I took a test a day and passed that class. But I had 21 hours. Like, so to me, that was the easier class that I could just kind of, make it through. And thankfully I made it through. But, the point of that is, we tend to tell people things, and when people tell us that we're wrong, or when we try to tell our brain it's wrong, like you hit a hard stop somewhere, right? So when you are looking at a limitation, sometimes that limitation feels like it's the right thing. One example that I give all the time, and this isn't necessarily a limitation, but one example I give all the time of someone who will argue for their limitations is when you look at a person who's been in a situation of abuse, and especially if it's a romantic relationship, and people ask them all the time, why won't you just leave? Why won't you just leave, Tanoa? Why won't you just leave, Lisa, Jonathan? Why won't you just leave? And one of the reasons why is because in this situation, that person knows when they're going to come home drunk, when they're going to be mad, when they're going to hit them, when they're going to emotionally abuse them. And for them, because they understand that and know that, it's easier than them leaving that situation and then going out into the world to find something new. It's like, I would rather stay here because they feel safer. So when you say to them, well, I can find your shelter, they're going to argue that limitation, right? They're going to argue for that limitation. Well, I have my kids and I don't want them in a shelter. Well, I can help you get a job. Well, I haven't had a job in a long time, so I don't have that many skills. Whenever you can tell, so for even this for yourself or for someone else, but especially for yourself, because the thing about self-help and life change is when you focus on you, that is the best place to be, because focusing on you helps other people learn to focus on themselves too. And like they say on the airplane all the time, put your mask on first. You can't help anybody else if you're drowning, right? So start listening to your own limitations. When people offer you ways of moving up in the world, listen to the words that come out of your mouth. I love Russell. I want to say Russell Brand. I don't think that's right. I'll be back in a minute with the name. But the one with the airline, his name may not even be Russell. My brain is not working today. The one with the airline that also wants to now take people to the moon, Virgin Mobile, is coming back. Come on, to know Virgin Mobile, Virgin Airlines, Virgin. Had Obama on his island. Somebody listening and y'all know the name, please put it in the chat. But I love one of the things that he says all the time, even though I can't remember his name, I know what the man said. And one of the things he talks about all the time is the value of a yes. When somebody offers you something, the quickest way to change your life is to say yes and figure it out later. If you jump into a yes, if you continue to just say yes, 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 and yes when people offer you things or want to help you change your life, then it makes it not so scary for the brain, but B, it gives you a better leverage in this world, gives you a better ability to be able to like jump in and move forward and take your life to a whole new level. So yes, practice the yes. Practice the yes, because it's in the yes. It's in the yes. Because now you're not arguing for the limitation. You're living for the dream. That's how you live for the dream. You say yes. But if you're listening to yourself, or even if you hear it in other people, and you can tell as soon as you offer them something great and the first thing they give you is a reason why that thing can't happen, is a reason why they can't have what you just said, then you know that person is living in the midst of homeostasis, right? They're living in the part of the brain, the reptilian part of the brain that wants to keep them safe. And they don't even realize that where they are in their life at that moment is there's more stagnation where they are than anything. And it's funny, it's weird. I won't say it's funny, but it's weird because we get in these patterns in life because we were born to go and be the best, right? That's the mandate that's on our lives, to be the absolute best. And we have everything on the inside of us to make that so, to make it true. But then life gets thrown into the equation, right? And somewhere along the way, we learn that we're not superheroes, even though I really, really want to be. I just want to wake up tomorrow with superpowers. If I do, I may not tell y'all right away. I'm gonna enjoy it, but we learned somewhere along the way that we're not the superheroes we thought we were, right? And so then we go into this like limitation phase. But if you think about it, purpose, the purpose on the inside of us is designed to be these big entities. And we don't always tap in, right? How do you tap in? What is the best way to tap in? To remember who you are, to remember that you are unstoppable, and to go for it and to say yes. And what I love about doing these talks is I'm not doing this talk because, oh, well, I'm the best in the world and I have all the information. No, I do these talks because you teach that what you most need to learn. So this information comes back to me too. It's like a seed. That seed gets planted in the ground. It grows into an apple, and that apple then gifts itself to the world, right? That the seed of helping people make it through self-preservation, help people learn how to heal themselves from their past or their limitations. That's the seed that was planted on the inside of me. And one of the things I always say to myself is grow, baby, grow, grow, baby, grow, grow, baby, grow. It is my intention to always grow. Do I always hit the mark? No, I mess up sometimes, right? I don't always say yes. I don't always make the phone call to introduce myself to people. I don't always go for the ask. It's like, oh, that's okay. I could do it myself. Not always true. That's a limitation. So are you living for your dreams? Are you arguing for your limitations? If you're living for your dreams, then you have yes on your heart. You have yes in your mouth. You have yes in your spirit. If you're living for your dreams, then that means that you know that there's nothing in this world that can stop you. If you're living for your dreams, living for your purpose, then that means you're doing all the things that you need to do to make it happen every single day. I used to ask the kids that I used to teach when they would get in trouble, what is it that you want to be when you grow up? And then my follow-up would be, and what are you doing every single day to make that come true? Every Sunday now, I have a reason why I shouldn't go live, right? Anytime you're ready to do anything or anything great, you're always going to hear that voice. Well, to know you should have gone live at 7. That's when you're going to get the most eyeballs. Now it's 8 o'clock. You should probably go live now. Oh, it's 8:05. Don't go wait until 9. Oh, it's 9 o'clock, girl. It's late now. Ain't nobody up. And then before you know it, I'm sitting here and it's like, what are you doing, child? Go live. And then I just hit the button. Just hit the button. Just hit the button. What are you doing? Right? Whether I have 1 eyeball, 20 eyeballs, or 0. This is something that I need to do. My daughter said it today. After I ran in here, we were out helping a friend put up her Christmas tree. And I came back in and had dinner cooking in the crock pot, so I had to finish it a little bit. And I said, well, I need to hurry up because I need to go live. And then she said, oh, you still going to go live today? Then I said, yeah. And then she said something. I think she said dedication. She was like, okay with the dedication. I'm like, right? You have to be dedicated in life. But there's always going to be a reason as to why you shouldn't, or you don't need to do something. There's always going to be something that's going to want to keep you back. Why? Because it thinks it's keeping you safe. But as I say all the time, if you crack open the first page of anything I've ever written, the dedication is usually, I may dedicate it to somebody else, but at the very end, I've dedicated it, the last sentences I dedicated to myself. And I actually dedicated to the dream, to the seed of the dream on the inside of me. Grow, baby, grow. To the seed of the dream on the inside of me. Grow, baby, grow. You cannot grow if you stay in your limitations. You cannot grow if you stay in your quicksand. You cannot grow if you refuse to move from where you are. Growth requires pain. Growth requires a yes. Growth requires moving forward. Both of my kids, but especially my son, had tremendous growing pains when they were growing up, to the point where it would just be painful to them to grow. Like they could wake up and know, I would know when they woke up that they were going to be taller or bigger, or their feet were going to have grown out of some shoes. Especially my son, because he would be crying with the pain, growing pains. Growth requires pain. It doesn't mean that that's any reason to stop, because guess what? Not growing is painful also. When you say stay stuck in a situation that you know you're not supposed to be in, that is so painful. But we almost get used and comfortable to the reasons that we did it. You know, every time you give yourself a new reason, you just added more yarn or thread or material to your mind's blanket of comfortability. And every time you do it, you should just picture your brain on its own little sofa with its own little cover, right? And it's like it's buried underneath because it's looking for a comfort zone. Growth requires pain. You're going to have some growing pains in this life. But which one, you're going to be in pain anyway, right? Which pain would you rather have? The pain because you grew or the pain because you stopped? I remember once a client said to me, I want to go back to school, but by the time I graduate, I'll be 55 years old. And I just don't know if I want to be a 55-year-old graduate. What do you think? And as a coach, I'm not going to give you an answer because I'm not your mentor. I'm your coach. So my job is to help walk you through it to see what it is you want. But one question I always frame it with is, God willing, you're going to be 55 anyway, right? Right? So then ask yourself, do you want to be 55 with a degree or 55 without a degree? If the answer is you want to be 55 with a degree, then go back to school and suffer through whatever pain you think is going to be. But trust me, it's not going to be as painful as if you want it and you don't do it. Because when you hit that 55, that 55th birthday, without what it was you said you wanted, that's when the pain is really going to set in. Because then it's going to be, look at all these years I wasted. I worked for Disney in California for 9.5 years. I knew at the beginning that they would pay for me to go back to school to get my master's degree. And I would never do it because I just kept saying every year, I don't want to be here next year. And if they do it, you owe them so many years after they've done it, right? Like they finished the degree and you still have to stay because you have to work for them in order to kind of pay off the degree or whatever. And I wouldn't do it because I kept saying I wanted to leave. Well, guess what? I never left. After 9.5 years, I could have had a master's and part of a doctorate. If I had done that at Disney, I would have finished my doctorate because I wouldn't have run out of money, right? I'm 3 classes and a dissertation away from a PhD, and I can't seem to get there because of money. So it kind of bothers me, and I'm going to wrap up. It bothers me sometimes too because people say, Tanoa, you are way too smart not to finish your degree. You know, people say all the time, you don't even know how smart you are. And I'm going to tell y'all, it's not that I don't know how smart I am, but it's almost like a limitation because I can't finish my degree right now. So I don't want to tap into that part of my being smart or educated. I don't tap in that well. I like to ignore it because I feel like if I ignore it, then I'll have to acknowledge the fact that I don't have those 3 letters behind my name that I want. And it's not because I want them because I'm looking for a job that'll pay me for a doctorate or a doctor title. It's because I want them. I want them. I want those 3 initials so bad. So I tap out of the educated side of me sometimes. Oh, Tanoa, I would love your brain. No, you wouldn't. Because if you think about some of the choices that I've made in life, the military would have paid for my bachelor's degree and I didn't turn in the paperwork, you know, before I got out. So I didn't get any of my money from Uncle Sam that I was promised when I went into the military, which is why I went in, by the way. So we're not going to talk about that. Disney would have paid for my master's degree. Then when I started the master's program, the school kept trying to get me to apply for these scholarships because of my grades and all of that. And going back to the very beginning of this talk, in order to get that, I would have had to go to other professors. I would have needed 3 letters. And y'all know I said at the very beginning of this, I don't like reaching out to people. I don't like asking for nothing. So I didn't do that, right? Then I got to the PhD side and ran out of money. I was like, and you should have, because God sent you a boat, a helicopter, a plane, the Virgin Mobile spaceship, all of that, and you didn't take it. So right now, I'm not arguing for the limitation of I can't get a PhD. I'm just upset with myself for not doing the things that I needed to do to have made it so effortless. Because the schoolwork for me is effortless. I like to learn. I'm a nerd. I don't like writing papers, but I write them at the last minute and usually get an A. I had one professor on the PhD side give me a B, and I tried to get her fired. Yeah. I am psychotic. Yeah, it didn't work out too well for her or me, but that was the end of the day. That they switched me to another class, told her to leave me alone. She was so rude. But she tried to give me a B. I don't do B work, ma'am. You need to read that again. Can you read it again? Can we read it together? Do I need to explain some things? Do I need to explain some words? You need dictionary? What is going on that you gave me a B, a low B at that? A low B. She gave me like an 82. The hell I look like with an 82? No, ma'am. Go back. Read it again. So then I sent it to her chair and to another mentor of mine up there, and they all read it, and they were like, no, that's an A paper all the way. I know. Switch my class or give me my money back. I'm a mess. But so, when you are living for your dreams, the answer is always yes. You will get people to write those letters for you. You will get people to buy into who you are because you are showing up every day being that anyway. So it's not that hard. But when you are arguing for your limitations, when you're staying stuck in your comfort zone, then you find yourself years and years later having run out of money and not finishing a PhD when you look back on all the things that you should have done or could have done, right? And I won't shit all over myself right now, but when you look at the things that could have been done, those are now things that I have learned from. So now as I build this nonprofit, as I do the things I need to do to help people, then I'm remembering the pain from the bad choices that I made years ago. And I know not to make those same mistakes again. So I'm reaching out to people. I'm sitting across the aisle from people now. I'm calling people. If people say, call me tomorrow, I call them tomorrow because I have learned what that looks like when I don't. I have learned that I can't help people if I'm not helping myself. And if I'm not learning from the mistakes that I've made in the past, then I'm not going to be the person that I need to be to help people learn from the mistakes that they've made. Because that is my job in this world. Hey! So, are you living for your dreams or are you arguing for your limitations? Are you living for your dreams or are you arguing for your limitations? And once you realize that you have been arguing for your limitations, once you realize that you have been snuggled up on the metaphysical sofa in your life with your blanket pulled up because you are okay in your comfort zone, once you learn that, once you learn your triggers, once you learn your language, once you learn that you have not moved forward, now it's time to change that, to flip it and to grow. I was about to hit a Missy Elliott, flip it and reverse it. But now it's time to grow. Grow, baby, grow. What is it that you want? What is it that you're doing in life? Are you doing the things that you need to do to get there? Are you going to the people that you need to go to? About a month ago, I did maybe 2 months ago, time and I don't always get along, so I don't remember. But I did a talk on how it was revealed to me through spirit as I was thinking of a message that sometimes people make it to the heights that they've made it to because the universe needed to get them there so that spiritually they were ready to pull other people up too. And one of those people is you. So instead of putting people on a pedestal and leaving them there where you are worshiping them, remember that they may be there because they need to now pull you up. And if we're so busy worshiping somebody, then we're not looking at what we also bring to the table that complements who they are or how they complement who we are. Yeah. So sometimes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Situations pop back up in different packages to see if you're ready for promotion. Right. Are you ready to let go of that limitation so that you can move into who you are? Are you ready to let go of the limitation so that you can live your dream on a bigger level, in a bigger, better, and bolder way? Why did I have to take so many years to learn that one lesson to get me where I am today? Well, thank God I learned a lesson, because now I'm playing on an even bigger scale. This is not just about me anymore. You know, I have a nonprofit to help people. And if I don't capitalize off of my mistakes and turn those lessons into blessings, then I can't be a blessing to somebody else, because that means I'm still stuck. But I'm telling you that I ruminate on those things when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm looking at the email saying, "Ooh, they told me to call them today. Ooh, I don't want to." Ooh. And it's like, oh, but remember, this is your pattern. So how are you going to help somebody if you can't escape your pattern? And it's like, hey, it's Tanoa. How are you? Like, that helps me now. Back then, I used to use that to snuggle in. That's my comfort zone. I don't have to call them. It'll be okay. Maybe they'll call me. Maybe they'll reach out to me. You know, my favorite, and I just say this facetiously, my favorite is when somebody reaches out to you with a text that says, call me. Are you effing kidding me? You did all that. That means you have my number. You texted me to say, call you. If you don't call this number. And then sometimes I'll just text back and go, okay. They ain't say when, so I'm not gonna say now, because you want me to jump through a hoop that you couldn't pick up the phone. Are you crazy? Are you kidding me right now? So we all have our limitations, and we all have things that stop us, and we all have things that we have to grow through. But remember, if you're living for your dreams, if you want the dream and the purpose and the intention to come through, then the answer is yes. The door is open. You're going to kick that sucker open if you have to. And you're always listening to your triggers to see, what is it that's stopping me from taking advantage of this opportunity right now? What has just come before me that I have to now process? And it's okay if something comes before you and it's a trigger and you stop for a minute. It's okay. Because what we want to learn is, what is the trigger, so that when it comes, it may still stop us. But the thing is, at the next breath, you should be moving forward. Okay, I got this. Because it still bothers me still today. Hey, Tanoa, here's a number of such and such. He's the CEO of blah, blah, blah. He's waiting on your call. Those words right there, man, listen, I freak out. Wait, why I gotta call him? You waiting on me to call him? Oh my God. Now, if I met this man in the elevator, I would talk his ear off. I have never met a stranger. Grocery store, we'll dance together, everything. But the minute you say, here's the number of a person who has information that can help you grow, it's almost like I hear, oh, you got to ask them for help. And it's like, what? I don't want to do that. What? I don't want to do that. But then what I'm doing is, now what I do is, hey, Tanoa, here's the number of blah, blah, blah. I wonder if there's a real person and his real name, blah, 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 but I digress. But here's the number of blah, 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 right? Give him a call. I told him all about you. He's waiting for your call. Usually this is me. Okay, Tanoa. Well, it's people in the world that you need to help, and maybe this person can help. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of like who they are or anything like that. I don't look at people as better than me or greater than you. I just simply don't. Period. I don't. And that bothers a lot of people. And that's sometimes why I'm let go from jobs, because people need me to put them on a pedestal. I'm not going to. I think that we're all equal, right? I just don't have to ask you for nothing. Right. So, But now it's like you have to. Like, these are things that you need to do. These are things that you have to do because there are now so many people in the world relying on you. You say you're so proud you got yours tonight. What'd you get tonight? Put that in the chat before I wrap up. Because I don't even know what I was talking about that you said you got yours tonight. What'd you get? I'm nosy now. What'd you get? So I could use those words too. I could use her words where I'm so proud of myself that I don't hold on to that limitation anymore. I don't need to call. Or they don't want to talk to me. That's the best one. Oh, you caught your trigger. Good deal. I'm sure you got more than one. We all do. I'm looking at the chat like you can see me. But that's, oh my God. And see, and that's right there. That's right there. Those are the things we need to celebrate. Because those triggers, boy, they run your life. Triggers will run your life if you are not conscious to them. That gives a whole new meaning to the words, to the term stay woke. Stay woke to your triggers. They are running and ruining your life. My triggers had me running from things for years to where I have been, for years now, I have been 3 classes away from a PhD or in a dissertation, which is like another 4 semesters, but still, I only have 3 classes left. I left all the boring classes for last. So I have statistics 1 and 2, and then a quantitative analysis class. None of those are fun. So maybe the other part of me is not so much in a rush because I don't want to do statistics. Statistics makes me want to throw computers out of windows, and that's not smart or fun. So, but I'm excited because, like I have all the work done. I'm just ready to do it. But again, I got myself into a situation that my limitations, arguing for my limitations, kept me where I was. I didn't want to ask for letters from professors. Why would they want to write it for me? I didn't want to go to the admin at my unit when I was in the military because they hated my guts, and I just always wanted to fight when I was in there. And it was like, I didn't want to deal with that. I let those things stop me. I let that person stop me. Just turning in paperwork is not that hard. Here's my paperwork. Pay my tuition. I didn't do that. Pay my loans. I didn't do that. Right. So years and years of arguing for a limitation, I'm now learning not to do that. I'm now using those lessons as blessings. But why have to have them in the first place, right? So pay attention to your triggers. Practice the word yes while looking in the mirror. And let's live for your dream, and let's not argue for your limitation. Because limitations are not the way to go. Triggers are not the way to go. It should always be a yes. Anybody tell me his name yet? Mr. Virgin? Mobile? Russell? I think it is Russell Brand. No, that's a coach. Russell. And it may even be Russell. I'm about to look it up. I forgot I got my phone right here. Bam. Because I got to know. Because I've been saying it this whole time. And now I just want to know. Owner of Virgin Airlines. Virgin Group. Sir Richard Charles Branson. Yes, I kept saying Brand. I kept saying Russell Brand. Lord Jesus. Sir Richard Branson. Yes. He always says, say yes. The answer is in the yes. The answer is in the yes. I'm going to leave it at that. The answer is in the yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Tanoa, can I borrow some money? No. Sorry. That you can't say yes to everything. All right, y'all. So I will see y'all next week. I don't know what the topic's going to be next week. I usually spend the week, thoughts come to me, and then I'll open up my notes app, and I have all these titles just in my notes app. And then on Sundays, when right before I go live, I'll pull up my titles, and it's like, oh, let's talk about that today. Or maybe it's sometimes a few minutes before, so I can look up definitions. I haven't done that lately. on live anyway. I do it on my phone right before I go live sometimes. But so I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but I just want you guys to remember and to know you were born for a purpose that's so much bigger and greater than anything you can even imagine. But you were born with the tools to make it happen, which means you ain't no lightweight in this. You just have to do the work, but you got the stuff. You got the goods, right? You got the goods. And knowing and understanding that means that you'll push yourself forward, because every single thing that you needed to be who you are was given to you. I said this quote last week and I messed it up. You had a 1 in 400 trillion chance. I said billion last time, but it's trillion. You had a 1 in 400 trillion chance of being exactly who you are. Those are like lottery odds. How many times have you played the lottery and never won? A friend of mine for my birthday a couple weeks ago, she gave me a gift bag when she came to my house, and I had a little very, very, very small COVID-19 friendly, wear your mask even outside party in my backyard, and just family, not a lot of people, maybe like 10, 15 people. And she brought me a gift, and inside the gift, she was like, I make sure there were about at least 50 things in here. Now, it was maybe a box with certain things in it. She didn't give me 50 individual gifts, but it was 50 things in the bag because I turned 50. And one of the things she gave me 10 veteran cash scratch-offs. And she was like, we're going to be rich. I was like, we got this. Let's go. Right. And I used to be addicted to gambling when I was in the military. I used to love those gambling boats. Oh, my God. If Terrence Nelson, if you pop in, man, do you remember when you used to try to come get me? We were stationed in Germany. He used to try to come get me off the boat because I would lose all my money 4 nights a week. I was addicted to blackjack. I don't know what happened. But so when I got those scratch-offs, for a long time, I wouldn't scratch them off because I'm always looking at the little addictive personality. Like, I don't drink or smoke. My body doesn't respond well to a lot of alcohol and things of that nature. So I may drink socially every blue moon, like with wine or something like that, but I don't really drink. It doesn't do my body good. And so, and I come from a lineage of addiction, right? We can be addicted to several different things, right? So, but my thing was gambling. So I kept looking at those scratch-offs and I was like, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're not going to get back in that life. No, ma'am. Because I used to play the lottery, and because I can hear numbers, sometimes I would play and I wouldn't win much. I win like $100 or something. So I got this thing to where I was always supposed to win. So when I started gambling and I wasn't winning, that's why I kept losing my money, because I was like, no, I'm a winner. Like, I'm supposed to win. Take another $100. What do you mean I didn't win? Hold on, let me go get some more chips. Terry used to be like, get your butt out this doggone club. I was addicted to the point. I'll tell y'all this. Y'all want to hear this part. This is crazy. I was so addicted to gambling that I used to sell dances, not lap dances. Get your mind out the gutter. Just, everybody's talking all this stuff about me. We've been a dance floor because I used to I can dance, right? I'd be out there, military base. Guys be like, you want to dance? I'd be like, if you give me some money to play the slots. You want to dance? Hey, if you sit me down at the blackjack table. So it got to the point where, so I'm sorry, my thing paused. So it got to the point where guys knew that literally if they wanted to holler at me or talk to me or whatever, you have to buy me a drink. I don't want no drink. I want to play slots because it took my money and I got to get it back. I was so crazed because I wasn't used to losing, right? And so anyway, it took me a while to finally scratch off these scratch-offs because I was like, I just know that if I don't win, I'm going to go buy some more. And sure enough, when I was done, I was like itching, looking around. I ain't got no more scratch-offs. Where are my scratch-offs? I ran out of scratch-offs, right? So you got to know your triggers. You got to know the things that hem you up in life. And you got to stay ahead of them so that they don't overtake you. So make sure you learn your triggers. And when something is presented to you, just because we're supposed to say yes, it doesn't mean we have to say yes to everything every time. But those things that are going to grow us and move us and push us, those are the things that require a yes. And even if you're not saying yes to the person, make sure you're saying yes to yourself. Is this something that I want to do? Yes. Does it fulfill my purpose? Then yes. Is it part of my dream in life? Yes. Is it part of my intention? Yes. Is it what was intended for me when I was birthed into this world? Then yes. Yes, yes, and yes. Do you want to go to the gambling boats? No. Yes, but no. No. Nope. Sure don't. Kind of, but nope. No. Right? You got to know when to say the no's and you got to know when to say the yeses. And you have to know when your brain is calling for you to be comfortable because it's trying to keep you safe. And it doesn't want you to play big because it feels like if you play big, then it can't keep you safe. Push. That's when you push. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. I'm going to forget I said this, but maybe I'll talk about that next week. Push. They say pray until something happens, right? But push is making yourself move forward in face of all your obstacles. Making yourself climb that hill, no matter how tired you think you're going to be. Making yourself get up from the chair at the blackjack table after you lose all your money twice. Push. Push. So again, are you living for your dreams or are you arguing for your limitations? Are you living for your dreams or are you arguing for your limitations? Let's live for our dreams. Let's leave our limitations at the door. Let's stop arguing for them when people try to help us move forward or when we tell ourselves that we can move forward. Let's not look at all the things that can go wrong. Let's look at the 3,000-4,000 things that can go right. And if you focus on the things that can go right, if you focus on the things that are going to grow you, then you'll always find yourself in a position of moving forward. And that's all I got for today. That's it. That's all. That's all. That's all I got. That's all I got. So I will see y'all next week. Next week we may push, or I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do next week. I'll find out next week too. Anyway, if y'all have something special, send me a message on any of the platforms, and I will make sure that I answer. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. If you are watching on Periscope, please share on Periscope. And if you're watching on Facebook and on any platform, if you have a message for me or you may have something you want to talk about next week, or if you ever want to be one of my guests on, like if you have some coaching questions or issues in life and you would like coaching around, reach out to me because that's what this platform is for. We can do it. And y'all don't just have to listen to me ramble every week because I like to talk, so I can. Don't mean I have to. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good week. Bye. Oh, this thing ain't touchscreen.